Hey everyone, Brian from Bear Bull Traders here. It is Sunday, April 5th, and getting ready to launch ourselves into another week, which will likely be fairly volatile. And it's going to be a short week. We've got 4 days. We've got the Good Friday, I believe, is going to be a holiday. So we've got a shortened trading week coming up here with a long weekend. So let's dive into where we are and kind of look ahead, see what we've got coming up. To me, it looks like we're sitting at some levels here, and the market's really trying to decide what to do. I know everybody's throwing up charts, including myself, showing how we get this wicked first sell-off, then we get a bounce back, and then another leg lower, and that's generally speaking. If you ask, you listen to all the people prognosticating on the street, as they say, everybody's predicting we're going to have another leg lower, and that may well be the case. But I found sometimes when everybody's got a consensus that something is going to happen, sometimes it does not happen. So I think we just need to let the price action tell us where things are going to go. So you can kind of see here we had the sell-off on the Friday, and then we had a little bit of a bounce back at the end of the day there on all the indexes. Everything is pretty much firmly in bear market territory. So let's take a look at some of the stuff I've got that I'm watching. Start out with the indexes. Gold, just keeping an eye on gold. I think gold in the long term, and I believe, and you've listened to a lot of other people, gold's probably going to be testing this 1700 level at some point in time. We just seem to be chopping in a range right now, but I believe that eventually gold will start to go higher with all the printing presses churning out money. And so, it's good to keep an eye on gold. And people have been writing and asking me about why the miners haven't been doing as well as maybe gold has. We had this big massive move up in price of gold, and the miners really didn't follow that much. But it's easier to sell the miners when you're trying to get liquid everything, trying to get into cash, than it is to go out and sell physical gold. So I think that's partly been what's going on. And in normal times, when you'd have a price of gold move like that, your miners would be following suit in spades, but it hasn't been the case so far. So I think eventually when things settle down, I think the miners will catch up, but at this point, we don't want to play looking too far ahead here. So let's look at the transports, and you're going to hear sort of a recurring theme here. I think we're kind of trying to hold a level here. You can see on the daily we've got this 20 moving average that seems to be resistance. And if we look at it on the weekly, if we look at transports on the weekly, well below the 200 day, we didn't have a great candle on the week, but all you can say, the good thing you can say about it was it was on lower volume, and yeah, so not looking that great for the transports. The treasuries just kind of hanging in here. Not much to home about that, and 10 years still dropping on, as you can see, on the week over week, just getting weaker. So let's get into the indexes here. You can see we kind of had a bit of an inside day on the Dow on Friday, so a bit of an indecision day, an up day Thursday, indecision day Friday, declining volume on the downside, which is, I guess, a bit of a silver lining if you're a bull. But again, you can see here 20 moving average acting as resistance. And I think it's, we're at a level, we're at a sort of a critical level here. And I think if we continue to hold this sort of 20,600 level, low on this candle was 20,700. If we can hold this 20,700 level, we may just churn along here, but I'd be watching all these indexes very closely for a break, because if we do start to break, we definitely are going to be heading down to this level here. Let's take a look at it on the weekly. My SARS example, take that off. But yeah, you can see the weekly not that great, but again, volume dropping off a little bit. And if we do start to lose this 20,700 number, then the next target in play will be 19,000. So again, you'll hear this reoccurring theme. The small caps have really been horrible when you look at them. I mean, they've underperformed everything else. The 20 moving average still being resistance, but it's not even getting up near there like the other ones. And of course, they were the underperformers even when we went into this downturn. So IWM on the weekly, again, looking pretty ugly. So the small caps still not looking very good here. The Qs, again, sort of here's a level here. This low here, 180, 181. Yeah, again, if we start to lose this level, 170 could be in the cards again. But we've got declining volume here on these sell-offs, so maybe we are going to kind of hold this level and churn sideways again on the weekly. Significant declining volume on the weekly. So we had a down week, but on significantly declining volume, which means the sellers weren't really pressing to the downside. There weren't a lot of buyers, but the sellers weren't pressing. So again, here's the SPY. Again, same story with the 20 moving average, and again, sort of same story on the weekly. This 200-day moving average now significant resistance. It's rejected there twice, and yeah, so MACD, I'd be looking to see if that eventually curled up. Or on the dollar is starting to strengthen up a bit here. You have to remember that you're comparing it to other currencies. Euro is in a hard way, and I think there's about 40% of what the dollar's gauged against the euro. So if the euro is really in a mess, it could be the dollar's just a good house in a bad neighborhood, if you know what I mean. And the VIX continues just to sell off here. This is what I was expecting. Caught a move here, really didn't take advantage of the whole thing. I wish I had, but it was just, thought I was pretty happy with the trade. And then I did a bit of a short here, thinking the VIX was going to drop off, and then had some options on that, and they expired worthless. So I was happy about that because I'd written those options. I hadn't bought them. So let's take a look at some stuff that I have on watch. Docu actually has held up pretty well in this whole debacle. And you can see here MACD is just rolling over, but I'm looking at this 77.50 level. This is kind of where we broke out from, 77, 77.50. It's at 79 now. If we can get down into this 77 range, I might look at it for a bounce. And futures are up right now, over 200 points, so we may not get down there, but Docu could be interesting for a bounce here, as it's had 2 days of pretty hard selling. EZPW was something I was watching before, and I had traded it once or twice, and now it's looking like it's warming up again. So I'm going to be watching it on Monday to see if it can kind of break out of this 440 level. If it gets to 450, maybe we can get up to this 470 and then use 430 as a stop. Not a great risk to reward though. GDX, this is again, this is the miners as opposed to the actual gold. You can see here it's had a bit of a move. I might be transitioning away from Nugget and looking more at GDX and GDXJ, which are not levered ETFs. Nugget and Dust are going from 3 times to 2 times, so I might be inclined to look at these instead of, and again, gold here just still looks like it's a little bit choppy. It's in a range right now, but again, I'd be looking for it to break out here. JD is one I've got an eye on as well. It's really held up well. I mean, when you look at its price action compared to the other most of the other stocks, it's held up pretty well. Still way above the 200. It bounced off it there, and a little bit of selling here, but on low volume. So I'd be looking for a follow-through move to the upside on Monday. KWeb, the Chinese internets, again, they're holding up here. Um, Micron, again, they're looking at all these levels here. Here's a level 40. If it loses that, we could be heading lower. Race is something I've been watching. Really came off the bottom here, nice double bottom pattern up, and then we're pulling back again. So maybe we might after these 3 days of selling, we might actually get another bounce. So I'll be watching that Monday. SMH, again, 110 is where it needs to hold. All these levels are, as you can see, they're all just right here. They're all hanging, just bouncing along here. This could be a bit of a double bottom. Maybe we're going to move higher, or maybe we're just going to churn. Space has really just lost the 200-day. I think it's going back down to 10. So if you were looking for a short, that might be something that could be of interest. Team again is one that's kind of held up a little better than the rest. And you can see here, maybe it's holding this level, which goes back to here, so might be good for a bounce here. Lots of opportunities here. Here's TNA. This is the way to play the small caps. Again, if we get a bit of a bounce here, maybe it's good back up to these levels. 17, be a really decent percentage gain if we got that. USO popped up on this optimism with a deal with Saudi and Russia. As I'd mentioned, I thought it was, these days, I thought it was good for a pop. I did catch some of that. I know some of my other traders who were watching that caught that as well. Congrats to them. But I think it's kind of top out here, and I think there was some news that they've delayed this OPEC meeting, so oil is down a little bit right now. Again, VIX, if it continues to roll over here, maybe downside 40. So I just wanted to go over some quickly. I know it's getting long. I try to keep these short, not too much longer than 12 minutes. But some stuff I'm watching, and if we do start to break down, if we do start to lose those levels that I was talking about, here's some stocks that you probably could trade to the upside. This is the short, the FAZ, FAZ. FAS is the opposite. FAZ, if we really start to lose out on the banks, the financials, they really start to decline. This is a good way to play it. You can see here we had a high of 75 back when we had the big flush. This is a way to short the SPY. You can see here again, you can get a really nice move if we end up testing those lows again. SPXS, TZA. If we really don't like the small caps, I mean, it could go back up over 100 here if we get another flush lower. And this is one area that you probably want to stay away from. That's why I put this up, the XRT, which is the retails, hotels, restaurants. They're all looking really pretty sad because, of course, the everything being closed. So even when you look at stocks like that have been strong, like let's look at Lulu, which is one of my sort of favorites, certainly a favorite brand to wear. You can see here sitting right on this 200-day or 20-day moving average, pretty close to it. Came down, tested it. I mean, if it loses that, you could look at all of these stocks, restaurants, retailers, the high-end retailers. Here's Cake, maybe putting in a double bottom here. But again, if we still get some continued selling on this on the markets, these are the ones that are really going to get hit. The retail space, the restaurant space. Here's Hilton, hotels again, right back. They're really right back down to their lows. Of course, they came well off this sell-off day, but again, the weak will stay weak. Is my thought on this. So there's lots of ideas for you, lots of things to keep an eye on, but I would say keep an eye on those indexes. If they start to lose the levels that we've been holding here, look for more downside and look to jump into some of the names that I have outlined today. So that's about it. I just don't know where things are going to go. There was some good news out of Italy. I think they did something like a lot of blood donations, and then they tested them and found a huge number of them actually had tested positive for the virus, and they didn't have any symptoms or very little symptoms, which means that there are some lots of people out there that aren't that are getting the virus and not having significant implications on their health. But unfortunately, right now there's lots of people that are being affected, and certainly thoughts go out to all the people in hospital now fighting and hope for good outcomes. And we'll see. Hopefully we'll get through this. I know we will get through this. It's just going to be how long. So this is my book, How to Swing Trade, on Amazon. If you haven't picked it up yet, it's there. And if you're going to join us, we're in the Bear Bull Trading Room. Pre-market show starts at 8:30 in the morning. And then we'll be on at the open, trading the open, and we'll see what the day brings. Thanks, everyone. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, what's left of it. Hope everybody's been safe and keeping sane, and we'll hopefully see you in the morning. Bye for now.